Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
According to teasers for Days of Our Lives, following Rafe Hernandez's rescue and the Arnold Feniger Sway revelation, Jada Hunter might surprise him with 5 words. Rafe could want to continue his relationship with Jada, but she might not find it that easy. Fans of DOOL are aware that Jada believes Rafe has changed completely in the present. The reason for this is that Rafe is actually Arnold, who has created quite a problem by impersonating him and doing what EJ DiMera commands. Jada's pain is undoubtedly real, even though this Rafe isn't the actual thing. Even when Rafe is saved and the entire truth is revealed, Jada could find it difficult to suppress her unfavorable feelings when she sees his face. According to today's teasers, Jada might be haunted by the disastrous wedding she had with the phony Rafe. Jada might end up pulling the brakes, even though Rafe wants to start organizing their actual wedding again. This is particularly true if Jada is already in a romantic relationship at that point. Rafe might be in for an unpleasant shock because Day's teasers suggest that Jada and Sean Brady may be about to develop a closer bond. Rafe can promise that they can resume their promising future together once he is at liberty and able to tell Jada what occurred. With these 5 words, Jada might disagree and crush Rafe's heart. "I can't marry you anymore." It's likely that Jada will disappoint Rafe by ruining his wedding fantasies, even if she later changes her mind. There will be a lot for Jada to process, so Rafe and Jada might possibly part ways, at least temporarily. Even when EJ and Arnold's cunning scheme is exposed, Jada and Rafe's romance is expected to remain complex, according to our day's predictions. Will Jada and Rafe's engagement actually fail? According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, Rafe may be in for some destruction, so keep checking back for any more information on any potentially unpleasant news. On Days of Our Lives, Kristen and the woman in white have finally met in person, and we've discovered 2 things in the process. First of all, the woman haunting Armid is, in fact, Rachel Blake, the mother of Kristen and Peter, who blew herself and Stefano up and was believed dead for 30 years. Second, Kristen is supporting Rachel's 2-pronged scheme to keep Ava abducted. Neither of those items was particularly unexpected. Despite her claims that she wants to improve, we are aware of Kristen's working methods. With the woman in white, the show was trying to smack us over the head as hard as it could. However, we might still be in for a major surprise. Everyone in this story makes it apparent that Kristen isn't a DiMera by blood, but she is still very much a DiMera, which is something we've noted throughout. After their parents passed away, Stefano placed her and Peter into foster care, although they continued to use the Blake name for the most of their lives. Peter still does, in fact. The foster children issue began, as we finally discovered, because Stefano was so consumed with chasing their mother that he killed her husband with a car bomb, even though it all took place off-screen before we ever saw either of the Blake siblings. However, Rachel was also in the car and was also thought to be dead. She wasn't. Rather, she became the woman in white, an enigmatic character who veiled her disfigured face, caused by the blast, and plagued Armid for many years. More about that story can be found here. When marrying Tony, back when Eileen Davidson played her, at Stefano's request to have his child, and when Stefano formally adopted her as an adult, Kristen finally stopped using the Blake name. The rest of the family, to their credit, views her as much of a DiMera as they do. However, all of the recent discussion regarding whether Kristen is a biological DiMera and what characteristics she inherited from Stefano rather than Rachel has made us stop and reflect. Even though Kristen's biological father would have had an equally important role in her early years as her mother did, they never acknowledge him as an influence. What if the show is setting up the big reveal that Kristen is actually Stefano's daughter? It's possible that Stefano was able to briefly hook up with Rachel, and she became pregnant with Kristen without telling him. She wouldn't have wanted any of her children to be tarnished by Stefano's influence because, of all people, she is aware of how much of a monster he is. But because Kristen is more DiMera than Blake these days, it's really too late for that. There's absolutely no use in keeping the secret any longer, though, as Stefano is finally gone. Rachel has been hiding from him in Armid, unaware that he passed away years ago. The marriage between Kristen and Tony is the only issue. Although it turned out that Tony wasn't Stefano's biological son, he wasn't truly Tony when he was married to Kristen. Rather, she was married to Andre, Stefano's nephew, who had plastic surgery to appear just like Tony and spent years imitating him. After, it was revealed that Tony wasn't Stefano's son, but Andre was. Like John's paternity, the program repeatedly redoes and undoes relationships, making it a complex tangle. Do you recall when he was also Stefano's son? However, Days of Our Lives might be preparing to reverse the situation so that the deceased, evil Andre was neither Stefano's son nor a DiMera. His marriage to Kristen would be acceptable in that case. We hope they could make Tony Stefano's son once more, but he would then be René Dumon's half-brother, because they did have sex before she passed away. All of this can be related to Theo Penglis's declaration of joy over the return of the DiMeras. As Peter would return to work things out with his mother and sister and Kristen would be exposed as a real DiMera, it would compel the family to delve deeply into their histories and relationships. As they worked through the switches and impersonations and discovered whether Andre was, in fact, Stefano's kid, it would also encourage Tony to return. What are your thoughts? Is Kristen okay being Stefano's adopted daughter, or should she be his biological daughter? The second part of Beverly Hills, the never-produced soap opera that our sister site Twine's creator Michael Ausiello wrote at the age of 13, was unveiled on February 8th by LA's Dynasty Typewriter. An all-star group, which included Psych star Dule Hill, Ugly Betty alum Michael Urie, and community veterans Yvette Nicole Brown and Jillian Jacobs, played an excitingly ridiculous plot in which the Russian circus brought more than just clowns and jugglers to town. Behind the scenes, another storyline was being twisted, in which Stephen Nichols, star of Days of Our Lives, learned about his influence on teenage Bill Bell, a major admirer of the show. Congratulations on your production of Beverly Hills, Michael, both the 13 and 52-year-old versions of you, he wrote on Instagram. What a performance. He went on, I appreciate you inviting me and sharing with me my connection to your 13-year-old self. It was touching and unexpected. I'm grateful. Everyone should see this show, in my opinion. Excellent work. The soap opera was live-streamed while it was being performed on stage. It had 2 catfights, a startling shooting, a beautiful trapeze routine by Caitlin Riley, and Eddie Patterson of the Righteous Gemstones picking a lock in a way you have to see to believe. You will soon be able to view a replay. Meanwhile, viewers may stream the first version of Beverly Hills.